sugar allowed back into the body through the kidneys and send some sugar out through the process of urination.
Lower blood pressure when used with certain diabetes medicines. Do not take if allergic to Farxiga or its ingredients.
Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. Symptoms include nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, and trouble breathing. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis or an allergic reaction.
To treat type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis and has not been studied with...
Should not be used in patients with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis and has not been studied...
Potassium. Ketoacidosis is a serious condition which can be life-threatening. Stop
standard insulin. Don't use Toujeo to treat diabetic ketoacidosis during episodes of
use Traceba to treat diabetic ketoacidosis during episodes of low blood sugar or
with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis.
Do you remember seeing any of these commercials on TV? The ones about ketoacidosis or DKA?
Oh yeah, because mostly they were like on many channels, because it's kind of like for adults, not really for kids, because it's more about type 2 than type 1, because it says, don't treat for ketoacidosis, not for type 1 diabetics. So pretty much they're type 2, and it's kind of not really like type 1, but because type 1 take insulin and type 2 don't. Well, some may take insulin, but usually don't.
Did you ever think that you would come down with DKA?
Never thought about it. Never even knew what it was. I didn't even know what it was at the first part, and then I'm just like, what is that, Dad? And then he didn't really know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, because it's like, why would we want to know about it? I mean, something not really we were supposed to know about, because...
When you were going through the symptoms of ketoacidosis, had you ever thought in any part of your mind about the commercial or what they say are the...
I didn't even know that peeing a lot and throwing up was ketoacidosis. My sugar was like flying 500, 600.
Do you know why they gave all that information in the commercial? Any idea?
Maybe to like warn some people about the symptoms of that thing they're giving.
Which is what?
Like Toujeo or whatever.
Oh, you mean the medication that they're giving?
Yeah, because like they say like not for type 1 diabetics, not for ketoacidosis. They kind of like warn you what is good, like what is for.
Now that you've had DKA, that you've had diabetic ketoacidosis, how do you look at the commercials now?
I'm like, hey, that's a commercial about diabetes.
So now that you've had an issue...
now that I know what it is, I kind of like, hey, Dad, look, it's a diabetic commercial.
So now you're more aware because of your experience.
Yeah, I mean...
What do you think about gearing some of the ads for diabetic ketoacidosis toward children? I mean, children are becoming more prevalently diabetic.
Yeah.
And, I know it seems like a hard concept for children to understand, but maybe even for parents to recognize in their children, because when Andrew was experiencing all of these symptoms, and they weren't just symptoms that were just for a short period of time. Now looking back, we see that a lot of the symptoms that Andrew was experiencing had started long before the diagnosis.
If it was like a kid, then maybe like my mom, like either mom or dad would see it and like maybe think about it. Maybe like Dexcom or something should be with like kids and adults, so it knows that, because some adults can still get type 1, but mostly kids, so.
But I do agree with you that a lot of the marketing and a lot of the medication information is geared toward older people, not necessarily the children. There were just a few recent commercials that I noticed, juvenile diabetes being part of the commercial. So I think, with our with our talks and with our vlogging, I hope that we can be sort of like a commercial and let people know the symptoms and things that they can do.
Warn them that if you get this, you might want to go get checked out. So if like you're peeing more than normal, go to the doctor and get it checked out.
Yeah,
Because we didn't, because I didn't even know it.
Well, and you eat very healthy, Andrew. You're very thin. Mm-hmm. You have a great diet. You drink a lot of water. We would have never thought that you would have been suffering from any type of ketoacidosis, and we certainly didn't think you were diabetic. We didn't know much about type 1 diabetes. In fact, I didn't know a whole lot. And learning through your experiences, Andrew, and in the symptoms of ketoacidosis, which is a very serious complication of type 1 diabetes, learning through that experience with you has really opened my eyes to things that we need to watch out for in the future as Andrew grows, and if he's ever having times where he's sick. Those are things that we really have to watch out for. We have to not only check his blood sugar level very regularly when he's sick, we have to make sure that he's drinking enough fluids, because part of the diabetic ketoacidosis has a lot to do with dehydration. And so we want to be careful that he's doing well, that he's keeping well hydrated, and we want to make sure that we're giving him insulin when needed, and that, most importantly, we're checking his urine for ketones. The diabetes and the diabetic ketoacidosis really took its toll on Andrew's body, so we were lucky to have a quick diagnosis at St. Margaret Mercy Hospital, Franciscan Hospital in Hammond.
Felt more really tired. So I kept on wanting to sit down, and I was walking around, and then I can't make it to the refrigerator.
So you were feeling, up until the time that you were diagnosed, you were feeling pretty weak? Yeah. Like you just couldn't get up, you were just kind of tired? I seem to remember...
When I was at my friend's house, when we were playing outside, and we were trying to chase after the golf cart, I just couldn't do it. I was too weak. Yeah.
What else was going on?
I was throwing up after going to the friend's house.
Right.
And then I really just wanted to lay down. Just couldn't even get out of bed. I needed delivery.
Needed delivery?
Yeah.
Do you think
6:30.
So 6:30 in the morning, what happened?
I woke up and I couldn't even sleep. I was up all night, just trying to make sure that my ribs didn't hurt, because they kept on hurting. I moved so much in my bed. Yeah, and I just wanted to go on. I woke up Dad, and I'm like, we need to go right now.
So at 6:30, what did you tell me? Remember? Do the appointment now, you said.
Every time.
And I said, what do you mean do the appointment now? Because it's 6:30 in the morning. And
I raised my voice on you.
Dad, get up, we gotta go to the doctor now.
I was like, Dad, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah, so I got up and...
Yeah, he took me, found out.
Found out you were what?
Diabetic.
But what kind of state of diabetes were you in at that time?
Ketoacidosis.
And what's that?
That's when, very high and stuff.
Very high blood sugar?
Yeah.
Where,
and then, all those symptoms I had.
What happens with ketoacidosis, though? Your sugar gets really high, and then it spills into your urine, actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you can actually get things in your urine. I know, that's kind of weird. called ketones.
Yeah, ketones.
And that's where the word ketoacidosis comes from.
So, as we got to the emergency room, and Andrew's breathing hard, and as we were walking, he put his hand on my shoulder, and he's hanging on to me.
Yeah.
Really?
And I'm thinking, okay, I guess this is pretty serious.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine now.
And then you got in to the emergency room, and what happened?
I I was in a wheelchair.
You were in a
They
wheelchair.
put me in a wheelchair, yeah.
And then what?
And then they put me to the room that they put me
How quickly?
like really quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they like got me settled.
Did the triage.
And what did they say to you?
First, like, I think they like already knew, like, he's got diabetes.
Do you think they had a
type 1.
clue by your symptoms? They thought.
Yeah. And then they gave me IVs and insulin, and then
At first, when they put the IV in, did it freak you out?
I just was like too
Too
tired and worried and
Were you too
didn't
sick to
even
care?
Yeah, exactly.
But then when you after they put the insulin in, did you start feeling better right away?
I felt really tired.
So you just kind of laid there?
I just slept. But yeah,
Picking ups and
blood, IVs, and
your
stuff.
IVs, yep.
Now I was just, they're like out in, like
Real fast?
yeah, they were like zip 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 zip.
Why do you think they had to do that?
Probably because it was like I was like on the end of ketoacidosis.
Oh
So,
boy.
like,
They had to take care of you quick. So then once they figured out what was going on with you,
they do pretty quickly.
they did.
Yeah,
And then what they do?
they just gave me IV full insulin.
IV fluids and insulin, right?
Yeah,
What happened then? The doctor talked to me and what happened?
we had to get transferred to Indianapolis or South Bend.
Why was that?
Because they didn't have any endocrinologists.
What kind?
Children, pediatric endocrinologist. So he had to get transferred to South Bend or Indianapolis. We chose South Bend because it was closer, and so they transferred me in the most expensive ambulance. Don't take Superior.
You can't say. They transferred you in the most expensive ambulance.
Yes, and
Because we got the bill.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And Dad followed us, and then we arrived in South Bend. They carried me in, and then it was actually pretty cool. It was cooler than the emergency room. It had a TV and stuff, and it was like really cool. And then first shot.
First shot, you mean insulin, or?
Yeah, first shot.
So they gave you one of those right away, or they had you on the IV for a
No,
while?
like after I ate.
So they let you eat right when you got there?
No, it took like a day to eat for me to first be able to eat. I wanted to eat. I was pretty hungry. And
But they made you wait a little bit?
Yeah. And then I finally got to eat, and then insulin was like, I'm not used to this. And then I hope I got used to it, and I did. Now I'm giving myself shots, and yeah, self shots.
Let's go back to the hospital, though. When you were there, when all that stuff was happening, what were you thinking? Like, was it scary?
It was kind of scary, but it was really scary.
And what was scary about it?
The needle.
So just the needles, or was it all the people?
It was the needle. I mean, geez, if I just went in a hospital for just to get out of there the next day, would you like to get shots every day?
No.
Comment below if you want to get shots every day. We'll see.
So anyway, the thing I remember about Beacon Hospital when I was first driving up to the place where Andrew was, my husband had taken Andrew with the ambulance, and when I had arrived, the neatest part about it was that I could find the building in an instant, because it was a blonde building, but each one of the windows was painted a different bright shade, and I remember feeling very welcomed when I saw that. And I also noticed that Beacon had a Ronald McDonald House, and that also put me at ease a little bit, knowing that, you know, should there be anything needed during our visit, that everything would be taken care of. It made me relax in knowing that those services were provided over at Beacon Memorial, and the nursing staff and the people that took care of us really, really were sensitive to Andrew's needs and spoke with him about his medication and what needed to happen in his lifestyle change in a very mature way, where he understood it and he grasped it. And when we left there, at that point was when I knew he could handle this. It was at that moment.
was able to finally walk, they had to get what balanced out before they took the IVs out? Potassium?
Yeah.
What was, okay,
Oh,
let's
I
start
hated
there.
potassium.
You made it worse than it needed to be. Yeah.
So what?
So, when I got there, well, in South Bend, they said that my potassium levels were very low. They put it in water, and it made the water look orange, and I absolutely
Oh, that thing, I remember
hated
that.
it.
How did they serve it to you? What was?
First time, they just came up to me with like a needle and just like poured it in my mouth. And I was like,
So you were low on potassium, and they had to replenish that. They had to give you more potassium.
so I had to drink it.
So you had to drink the potassium. So how'd they get you to drink it?
Either they like gave it like into my mouth by like a needle thing,
Like a syringe or something?
Yeah.
Or
I just drink it out of the cups.
and what did it taste like?
Tastes like it's been a long time, but
Well, we can get you some.
no,
Yeah, I got some back here.
no, don't.
What? You didn't like the taste of the
It
potassium?
just tasted so weird. I mean, put it in Sprite. That just ruins the Sprite. It makes the Sprite go extinct. It's so bad.
Beacon Children's Hospital was really amazing. When we were admitted to Beacon, they took fantastic care of us. They helped us as parents understand what was happening to our son, and they took incredible care of Andrew as well. I remember the first time that Andrew got out of bed, after not wanting to get out of bed for about 2 days.
Because I was really dizzy, like insanely dizzy.
And you were very weak
Yeah, very weak.
and probably very tired, I would imagine.
Because like when we went to diabetes education, I had to like carry the thing that like I think it's
The
a-
IV pool?
Yeah. I was like really like tipping, like almost falling off, and like they had to like assist me. And
Why do you think that was? Why do you think you were so
because
weak?
my body just introduced itself to some insulin in a long time and hasn't had any.
Well, yeah, when you're in diabetic ketoacidosis, it actually takes energy instead of from your pancreas and body. It actually takes energy from your muscles and the fat stores in your body. So you lost a lot of weight, and you lost a lot of muscle, and you just became really, really weak. You know, and it had gone on for quite some time, and we had no idea that was happening. Ultimately, when Andrew was weighed, he had lost 10 pounds, and that was quite a shock for us. When we looked at the pictures from the hospital of the time he was admitted and even the time he was released, it was just a tremendous, tremendous shock. Within a week, actually, of being released from the hospital, Andrew had gained back all 10 of the pounds that he had lost, which was pretty amazing. Once he started getting treated, his recovery was very, very quick. It took a while to get his blood sugar numbers even stabilized with the insulin and all the medicine we were taking, but he really bounced back quickly. It was extraordinary the way it happened.
Before I was about 80 pounds at the time that I was diagnosed, and now I'm back to 94 and a quarter at my weight, so I grew at least 14 pounds.
Or you gained at least 14 pounds, right?
Did I say lost?
You said you grew 14.
I gained 14, at least 14 pounds.
Between the time of diagnosis and now. So between now and September 6th and now.
Because I was just so weak. Just couldn't take it.
And we were transferred to Beacon Memorial Hospital, and thankfully they knew exactly what they were doing. They had a state-of-the-art hospital, which was able to provide everything that Andrew needed at the time, and Andrew even stated to me that he thought it was a 5-star hospital because the lighting in the room could change.
It had lights.
What do you mean lights?
It had lights around like this.
For surgery?
for like colorful lights around the sink, and it was not like messy at all. It was nice.
It was a very nice big room.
Yeah.
It had a lot of colorful lights. You could change the lighting. You could change it to blue or green or red. It had an awesome, huge screen TV in it, and even a place for the parents to sleep, which we did. It was a very, very nice, big, spacious room, and it definitely had the family in mind when it came to Andrew's care, for sure.
Yeah.
There were lots of amazing rooms also within our unit. What were some of the rooms that we visited? Do you remember?
About 3 or 4.
So after about 3 or 4 days, they unhooked Andrew's IVs.
And there was like a big like dome that was like, it was like an animal thing.
So we got to walk through a big atrium area, and when we walked through, it was really neat. It actually looked like it was a path, and apparently there were lots of hidden animals all around the area, and so that was one of the first activities we did. We actually looked to find the hidden animals. We walked through the atrium, and it had a little teepee built that we could walk through. It had little stumps like we were actually in a park, and little animals, and it was quite fun the way it was decorated. But it took a lot of energy for Andrew just to walk from his room to that area.
It's been a while, and I kind of like bring my strength back. After the atrium, we went over to it was like a basketball room where there was like a little like play thing where like you shoot the baskets. So that was pretty fun to do.
Who'd you play against?
Dad.
And who won?
Me.
Andrew thinks he won.
Wait, did I?
I don't remember.
Oh, he's shaking his head. Oh,
those
yeah.
were vague moments. Shot.
And subscribe.
Okay, so let's chat about...
Ow.
Let's chat about the concussion on the couch.
Okay.